So this should come as no shock to any of you guys, but things are very, very bad over at BioWare, the creators of Dragon Age Veilguard. We've gotten some major information now saying that the game actually cost the company $300 million to make. I honestly think it's more than that, but these are the reports that are coming in. They've said that they've sold 1 million copies of the game so far, but keep in mind, after Steam takes their cut and so forth, they're only getting about 70% of that. So yeah, they're not making their money back, nowhere close to that. And as a result of this, it is looking like the studio will shut down and they won't even be able to produce the next Mass Effect. So this news is absolutely just startling. We didn't think it was going to happen this soon. We have a video from Rev Says Desu. This is where the news is coming from. And basically, the Veilguard might actually bankrupt BioWare, so it may not just be a straight shutdown, but it may also result in liquidation of the studio. Rev's channel will be linked in the description, so you can go check him out and support him. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we're going to be once again talking about Dragon Age, the Veilguard, which continues to be an absolute nightmare for BioWare and EA. So here's the latest headline from That Park Place, and it paints a pretty grim picture. BioWare claims Dragon Age the Veilguard sales have reached 1 million copies as company hunts down whistleblowers. Now, that is not a new thing. BioWare, among other companies, have had many people from their inside come out and reveal what's going on behind the scenes, and it's often very grim results, especially with projects like the Veilguard. Now, this 1 million mark comes just after 2 weeks of this game being public, and that is a really disappointing number if you're BioWare. There are rumors out there right now that it might take 5, 6, maybe even 7 million units sold to even break even. Yes, let me repeat that. 5, 6, maybe 7 million units sold just to get their investment back. That is how bad things are looking right now for BioWare and EA. Now, returning to Dragon Age the Veilguard. So here is the updated numbers. You can see 27,000 in-game players right now. So every time I talk about the Veilguard, which is, probably every couple of days since its release, that number of in-game players drops by about 10,000 every single time. It's consistently falling off, and it's not too surprising based on the public reaction. A lot of people are very dissatisfied with this game, which is having a record number of cancellations and people trying to return this game. It's a mess. Now let's look at the actual article here. So we've seen some numbers about the sales before where people like Endymion and Smash JT have shared that the game had only sold 500,000 copies and had 30,000 refunds issued. This was something that was shared somewhat recently, but it appears that number is actually off, but not too beneficial for BioWare as well. So it's Smash JT who reported here that he received a very long email from an insider at one of the relevant companies talking about the sales, saying this in quote, "Concerning sales, the game has reached 1 million copies over the weekend according to news we got." So your initial source is not accurate, or there is something I am confused about numbers. We get told and can see we have a launch party this week for the game. It will be grim, and there are a huge number of freakouts. I hope your source is still safe from investigations going on. That's referring to a previous source who gave some information, and you can see there's a lot of panic at BioWare right now. They are trying to find this set of whistleblowers. Everyone is panicking over there, and it's very weird to see. BioWare is in a situation where normally you hit the million units sold mark and you go out there and you celebrate it, right? You post about it on your accounts because it's good promotion for your game. But BioWare and EA have said nothing. This is apparently from an internal memo. That's how they found out about the million sales. And it seems like that announcement was somewhat influenced by the fact that that 500,000 units sold mark was going out on social media. So they wanted to correct the record in office and say, nope, it's actually 1 million, which again, according to many people, that is far short, like not even close to breaking even. And also on top of that, we don't really know when they say sales, does that include the amount of units they've placed into stores that haven't been bought yet. There's a lot of questions like that. So that million might not even be as effective as it's being portrayed. But anyways, as he says in his article here, despite the reported sales, according to my insider, the atmosphere at BioWare is anything but celebratory. Morale is at an all-time low, and there's extreme tension surrounding the game's reception and the state of internal relations. The response to the Veilguard has been weak AF, with YouTubers and players alike voicing concerns about its quality and perceived indoctrination, alongside severe lack of any innovation. Amid this, internal pressures are taking a toll on BioWare's team, adding multiple layers of stress.
So BioWare is a company that went and fired a lot of the old guys, a lot of the white guys that knew how to make games, industry veterans, people that were there since the early 2000s, and they replaced them with a bunch of woke activists. These people did not know how to make games, and it got so bad that evidently they had to bring in tons of contractors, and there were multiple revisions done on this game over the years. This game has been in development for almost 10 years. That's how bad the situation is. The game has allegedly cost $300 million to develop. However, based on the findings that I found, it suggested that it may have cost up to $450 million to develop, which is right in the same league as Concord, which actually did end up costing around $500 million to develop. So Sony lost about $500 million, or around a minimum of $500 million on Concord, another piece of woke trash. And now BioWare has released what should have been basically their GTA. It's supposed to print money, and they have destroyed all of the goodwill that they had with fans. There are people like me who have never played a single Dragon Age game. And now and this is what ended up happening, is that because they pissed me off so bad, because Sony pissed me off so bad, I basically said I wash my hands off them. I washed my hands completely. I already had a nice Steam collection of games, over like 200 games, but that just pushed me to the edge after they released Concord, and then they released the PlayStation Pro for $700. I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. Miss me with that. And I just started, getting my games on GOG. I have over 200 games I've purchased on GOG right now. I have a really, really nice GOG library, massive GOG library, 218 games and going. And this is kind of the reality. So a lot of people are pissed off with this, and now BioWare came out with this garbage, and you're losing all of this money. All of those white guys that they fired, there's only maybe a handful of them still at the company, and you have to basically be a part of the whole woke thing. So you have to identify a certain way. You cannot show a shred of masculinity. You are being persecuted just based on the color of your skin. And they didn't think that these people were going to start going to the media, going to the YouTubers, and leaking information. So they're trying to go after the leakers. They're trying to find the leakers. Multiple leakers are coming forward and reaching out to YouTubers. It's frightening what's happening right now. Don't forget that BioWare also was shutting down reviews. So, for example, IGN and all of these other game reviewers, so-called media, the professional media, they basically took speaking points from BioWare, and they all said out like the exact same reviews. They used the exact same words in their reviews. So this is absolute fraud. And you can be fined $50,000 for every single time that you basically put out a fake review. And then on top of it, there's the issue of conspiring with these companies. It's very serious. We need lawsuits to happen right now. But by the time this could even happen, BioWare may not be here anymore, because the studio is evidently heading towards bankruptcy right now. We thought that EA would just possibly shut them down, but it looks like any assets for the studio may end up being liquidated. You can forget about Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect, which is also being worked on by the exact same team that worked on Dragon Age. So, and we already know what the next Mass Effect is going to be. It's going to be centered around a female character. Of course, it's going to be woke as hell. And this is what they're trying to do. So it's good for BioWare to die. BioWare was once a really great company. And what ends up happening is a lot of the older games end up becoming, really cheap and available. I just picked up Dragon Age Origins and on GOG. That's where I buy 99% of my games right now. And then I'm waiting for I'm hopeful that Dragon Age Inquisitions will end up coming over there. But like, I mean, like that's really what I'm rolling with. Like, old is gold right now. Old is absolutely gold. So like we're like, yeah, this is surprising because I really didn't think BioWare was going to shut down so soon. And I thought that if they did shut down, it would literally be more along the lines of EA just shuts them down. I did not realize that they were heading towards actual bankruptcy and the studio could end up being liquidated and all of those people will be fired. So that's just unbelievable. And this just happened, guys. This is literally 2 weeks. The game came out 2 weeks ago, and this is the crazy stuff that we're looking at with this game. Like, holy cow, it is absolute crap. They've turned against it. This is it. Like, the fans are not buying it. You're seeing games like Dragon Quest that just came out, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. At the time of making this video, like, the game is doing absolutely horrible on Steam DB. I've been checking the game, going back and checking it out, and the highest that the highest 24-hour peak was like 37,000. It goes up and down, it fluctuates. Right now, there's 34,000 players online, but it's still not doing the kind of numbers that a game of this size would do. It sells for $59.99, and I mean, it's not doing well. This game is definitely not doing well. There are always going to be the people who run out and pick it up and play it, purchase it just for the sake of it. But it's like the YouTubers are shutting these games down. It's clear that the YouTubers have a lot of control over the gaming media right now because no one trusts these companies anymore. IGN has completely destroyed their name and every shred of credibility that they have with their constant sevens and giving like, oh, One Piece, it's a 6 or a 5. The live action. Oh, Cowboy Bebop. Oh, that's an 8 or a 9. Like, what the heck? You know, they gave Super Mario Brotherhood a 5. They called it like one of the worst, if not the worst Mario game ever made, while other reviewers are reviewing it and giving it like 9s. They're saying that there are some issues in some places, but it's definitely not a 5. And this is like, and it literally is in the same blood as other Super Mario games, like in the RPG series. It feels literally just like a progression of those games. IGN is like it's a departure, and it doesn't feel like any of those games. So basically, IGN is basically punishing them because it's not woke, because Luigi is not a part of the community. It's absolutely sick. They are pervert guys. These companies are perverse. They are absolutely perverse. These are children's games, and they want to put woke ideologies into it. Discussions about gender and fluidity and pronouns into a game for little kids. Like, let's not forget, we love these games, but these are titles that are for everyone. It's not about, any of these other things. And guys, this is what they're doing. This is how they're getting revenge. The game of the year is going to be announced soon. And we are for the Game Awards, and we already know that Black Myth Wukong is not going to be there. It's going to be some BS. It'll probably be Star Wars Outlaws or something or Concord, something along the lines of that. It's going to be total BS, guys. Total BS. Forget about Stellar Blade because they literally slandered that poor man, calling him an INCEL for the character model. Then it turns out his wife is South Korean and looks just like the model in the game. And guys, if you're enjoying the content, check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse. Inside, you'll get exclusive videos, top-tier travel tips, digital nomad guides, passive income strategies, pop culture and geek culture commentary, and hard-hitting manosphere content on gender dynamics, dating, and relationships. Free subscribers have access to videos, podcasts, articles, and the community chat, plus receive the passive income blueprint and digital nomad blueprint just for joining. Paid subscribers unlock even more value, including exclusive guides like the How to Build an Online Business in 24 Hours ebook, Wealth Building Blueprints, and crypto updates. Join us today by clicking the link in the description and take your journey to the next level.
To an already difficult launch. Yeah, as they said, there's going to be a launch party. I don't really know why they would call it that. It sounds a lot more like a funeral or something like that. I mean, it's been a rough couple of weeks for BioWare, but there's some interesting points here being made by Mark Kern, the former World of Warcraft development team leader, who says, we're winning. Dragon Age the Veilguard has fallen. Dragon Age Veilguard has failed to recover its costs. It has failed, and no, holiday sales won't save it. BioWare is so angry that the Veilguard sales numbers have leaked that they are launching an internal investigation to find the leakers. Concurrent players have dropped off the charts just 2 weeks in, sitting at a peak of 34,000, now into the 20,000 mark, versus their launch weekend high of 89,000, a 62% drop before the month even closes. Returns are rumored to be 30,000 copies, and the game is being traded in at GameStop so fast that used copies of the game are flooded and being discounted with a trade-in value of only $14 cash. By comparison, Stellar Blade, a much smaller IP and many months older than the Veilguard, is $16 cash, which shows just how bad the Veilguard's value has dropped. Fun fact, Star Wars Outlaws is even worse at $11.90 cash. Stellar Blade wins again. Total sales for the Veilguard have only just crested 1 million copies in 2 weeks. Budget is rumored to be $250 to $300 million for the game, making it fall well short of breaking even. If you take most games' sales profit at around 70 to 80% of the list price after store markups and digital platform fees, a $300 million budget would need around 6 to 7 million copies sold. This is where I differ from most people's estimates who say 4 to 5 million. Either way,
I mean, guys, they are absolutely cooked. There's no way they're going to make this money back, and their actions has basically damned the studio. And you're dealing with people who are extremely mentally ill. You have toxic positivity. That's the term for it, where you cannot say anything bad about what they're doing. They live in a reality of delusion, basically like most typical Gen Zers. And now they're destroying these companies. EA is going to have to go before their shareholders and explain to their shareholders how they were able to allow this to happen. And then, of course, if you go to platforms like Steam, they're like, oh, everything's good on Steam, guys. All the reviews on Steam are negative. What ended up happening is BioWare and their supporters have gone and been mass flagging comments on Steam, like it's the number of negative comments on Steam is probably at this point like maybe 75 or even 80% or maybe higher than that. It's endless amounts of negative comments, and then they've basically blocked all of them and suppressed them all as just spam. Oh, this comment does not relate to the game, so it doesn't count towards the actual reviews. So how is the game ranked among people? Mostly positive. Complete lies. If you go to Metacritic, the people on the critics on Metacritic, so the journalists, professional gaming media, they have the game ranked at like above 80%. Oh, it's an incredible game. It's an 87. It's current, but when it comes down to fan reviews, it's 3.9. 3.9, and they're like, oh, the game has been review bombed, so don't believe what the fans are saying. Those are not actual fans of the game, those are just trolls. No one's playing this game, it's being refused. People are furious about it, and they're calling everyone who doesn't like the game and is trying to have a voice a troll that needs to be silenced. Do you see how sick this is? These people need to be in prison.
whether it's 4 to 5 million units, they're not getting there. They're not even going to get close. At this point, they should be at multiple million sales. They should be at this mark already if this game had any worth. But they're just hitting 1 million now, and you know sales are going to be slowing down extensively as time goes on. I mean, the numbers itself for the game speak volumes. The player count every day is dropping by thousands, and now we're in the 20,000 mark only 2 weeks in. This game is dead in the water. If this number right here, about the 6 to 7 million copies sold to break even, my God, this might be one of the biggest flops you will see. And it's just another woke disaster, and it doesn't surprise anyone, right? This is a bunch of nonsense. But then again, you see the Game Awards coming up, and I have a very good feeling that the Veilguard might win Game of the Year. Like, I'm not kidding. They're mask off with their agenda. It's run by journalists over there at the Game Awards. I have a very strong suspicion Veilguard could win, despite everything going on, because the people in charge of the jury voting are largely journalists.
I think that he's absolutely right. I think he's absolutely right that Veilguard will probably win Game of the Year, because I cannot think of any other game that that's going to get it. Stellar Blade is not going to get it. You know, Black Myth Wukong is not going to get it. The games that people actually bought. Uh, when it comes to like Super Mario, Mario and Luigi, they're definitely not going to get it. They've been, look at what's happened with the mainstream media, gaming media. They are completely out for this game. So if it was not woke this year, you are not going to basically have a shot. Like they've been going after any game that is not woke. So yeah, it's almost definitive that it's going to win. Almost definitive that Veilguard is going to win Game of the Year, and the developers behind it don't care. They're gonna basically act like it's a major win for diversity, and it's like they're standing up to the trolls and the haters. It's like that's assuming BioWare even makes it through the end of the year. I think they will, but that's assuming that the studio is not broken up before the end of the year, because you can see the sentiment right now. All of the companies that have done this, like Square Enix, lost $350 million. Their shares just collapsed a ton in the last like 24 hours. They lost $350 million. Like their shares dropped 10% just based on sentiment from investors. Like they're not happy with what Square is doing. Their latest game, Dragon Quest 3, 2D HD. It's guys, it's not selling. It's not selling. Like, there was a the highest right now of concurrent players online playing people playing the game is 37,000. That's it. Right now, as I looked, it's like up to 34, but it's been as low as like 14, I believe, 14 to 20. It's not doing well for a game that just came out. Like no one's playing the game. It's like, and you have some YouTubers who are shills who are like, "Oh, I'm gonna play it anyway." Don't listen to the haters, guys. In the game, you no longer have male or female. You only have like body type A and body type B. So men and women no longer exist in the game. They've erased male and female from the game. Gender no longer exists in the game, and they've censored the characters that were originally female. They've also, because that's what it is, they were originally female. They're no longer male or female. We no longer talk about gender in the game. They've now also, covered them up. So like they've basically censored the game, censored just like armor and stuff like that, like of like female warriors. So it's really really bad. And I'm sure they've also done other things like censored language in the game. Don't forget, guys, that they even like Sega even censored Sonic recently. They censored Sonic, saying that Sonic the Hedgehog was toxically masculine for some of his interactions and the things that he said to Amy. Guys, it's insane. And the only reason why these things can happen around us in our environment, by the way, are because of the Sims. Never, guys. I'm the only YouTuber doing it. I'm the only one, and I'm not gonna stop until I am not here anymore. I will keep on saying it. I'm not afraid of these people. All right, don't stop blaming women. It's the Sims. It's the Sims. All right, and you have the Sims who are like, well, you can't blame us. You can't blame us for what we did. We were not in control. We were not in control of ourselves, so you can't blame us for what we did. And they are not repentant either. Most of the Sims who've done these things, and the few that are like, okay, well, we're not going to do it anymore, we learned our lessons, they refuse to repent because they say that they didn't know at the time, or they were not in control of their actions because they were raised to be Sims, so are conditioned to be like that, so they can't be found guilty or held accountable for anything that they did as a simp. Guys, these people are devils. They're absolutely devils. They are dangerous. And there are many of you that would go and sit down and say, but they're men too. These are men. These are brothers. They're not your brothers. But if you're so dumb that you're going to go and be fooled that easily, stay away from me because you have not learned about life yet. These are parasitic individuals who have destroyed our society. It is not women. It is the Sims.
So they're going to love the Veilguard. They've been hyping up the Veilguard, and I think they'll try to do that again. They'll try to pull some crazy move and make it Game of the Year. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. But you can see down here with Mark Kern's post, he shares the trade-in value. I mean, look at how bad this is for the Veilguard. Cash up to $15 for the Pro value and $14 for regular value. Compare that to Stellar Blade, which is doing better. And this is a game released months ago and also not a big brand like Veilguard or Dragon Age. And yeah, what a disaster. And unfortunately for BioWare and EA and anyone just related to those two entities there, nobody feels sorry for them. This game was an absolute disaster, a huge disappointment, but they'll never admit it. And they're going to have their launch party, and they're going to have a very weird scene on their hands over at BioWare when they try to discuss this game and how it's going. It's very clearly a disappointment, but nobody over there is acknowledging it, but they're going to be forced to pretty soon.
They're going to be forced to acknowledge it once the investors get involved. EA is a publicly traded company, and they have to disclose the financial losses. So they're going to have to disclose exactly how much money the game cost them to make, and how many sales they have totally, and how much they have lost on the game. Guys, they've already announced that they are not going to be releasing any DLC for the game, and instead moving on directly to Mass Effect, development of the next Mass Effect, which means that they've already realized internally that the game is cooked. And they're just trying to act like, oh, well, it's over. Well, we're okay. We've learned some things and we're going to keep on moving. They've learned nothing. And the thing is that they ultimately do not make this decision because their money comes from EA. Okay? Their money comes from EA. Their budget comes from EA. And EA had to pour all of this money into this company, into this studio. And you see what the losses are. Only for them to what? Do it again? Guys, it's going to be bad. It's going to be very, very bad. And these people are going to find themselves in an absolute world of hurt. There's actually a video I was just watching from Hirohi, and his channel will be linked in the description, because he's talking about it a bit further of the insane downfall. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the video.
This is a real tweet from Xbox. They said, "You don't know it, but you're living in one of the greatest ages of all right now." Posting this image, timeline through the ages: Ancient Age, Medieval Age, Modern Age, Contemporary Age, and Dragon Age the Veilguard. You are here. Yeah, because Veilguard is clearly the greatest thing ever, best game of all time. And I know they're joking around a little bit, but so many people have seriously been trying to prop this game up. As you might expect, the comments are not really agreeing with Xbox. So many corpos and their bootlickers have been going crazy lately, enraged that gamers have been winning simply by refusing to buy games from many of these corrupt Western AAA companies. This is something that I've talked about quite a lot recently, and now in this video, even more examples have come up. Over on Indie 100, Jake Brigstock made this article titled, "More than 1,500 games have been rated on wild, quote, woke detector, unquote." An online group has firmly brought the culture war of woke and anti-woke into video games, as more than 1,500 titles have been rated on an absurdly wild, quote-unquote, woke detector Excel spreadsheet. And that's not the worst part. More than half of them listed are not recommended because they contain details and features that are considered woke. What did you expect from something titled Woke Detector? How is that surprising? I love how he says that's not even the worst part though. Like, you can clearly tell that he's upset by this spreadsheet thing. He then posts an example of transgender character Serona Ryan from Hogwarts Legacy, but this seems like the worst example he could have used. Hogwarts Legacy? It was like the activist types on like Twitter, like the armchair activist types who were really upset by this game, saying that to like boycott it and making like lists of streamers who streamed it, hunting people like Pika down. Like, why would you use this example? This example hurts your argument. Look, I'll even say that I've seen some games that get not recommended on these type of lists that do seem like whoever put them on said list is taking too extreme of a stance on, like making too big of a deal out of things on occasion. However, plenty of times the not recommended posts are very reasonable, like simply not wanting to buy the very shoehorned in fake corporate DI slop stuff. Of course people don't want to buy games that come off fake and preachy. Who would want to get lectured by a bunch of lame corpos? I also find it hilarious when armchair activist types get all mad at gamers when they refuse to buy products from corporations. It's like they're mad that gamers are actually better activists than they are. At the time of writing, 403 titles in the document are recommended, 323 are informational, and a staggering 824, it's staggering, 824 games are rated not recommended, with some hugely successful titles in there. There were corners of the internet that were up in arms because a transgender character in Serona Ryan was included in Hogwarts Legacy when it released in February 2023. Once again, this is a terrible example. Like, I can't believe this guy's actually writing this. Does he actually think this, or is he trying to like rewrite history here? Because if I recall, it was the boycott Hogwarts Legacy people that were all upset with Serona Ryan. They were saying the name Serona was transphobic because like the Sir They were like, of course Hogwarts Legacy's trans character would be named Sirona Ryan. This is a transphobic dog whistle. And it was actually a lot of the pro Hogwarts Legacy people defending that trans character by citing this Celtic deity, Sirona. He then says, unsurprisingly, the proverbial woke content detector's curated list of games does not recommend Hogwarts Legacy. So as I mentioned earlier, I do think sometimes the people making those lists, or at least posting, like partaking in the lists, are too extreme. This being one of those examples. I like Hogwarts Legacy. I think it's a cool game.
I mean, a game like Hogwarts Legacy is set in like the 1800s, and they're trying to convince us that, oh, even then this was a very normal thing, and you had people who were trans. I mean, I'm not saying anything negative about that community because I understand the consequences. Like, this is the world we live in right now. But even that, like, you're telling us in the 1800s this was normal, right? Okay, cool. I'm just so thankful that we have Trump back in office and he can begin making real changes that will bring things forward. And hopefully, this will actually affect the gaming industry as well significantly. Hopefully, Elon can do something. But guys, we're definitely looking at the gaming crash. Like, this is a massive gaming crash, and these companies that went woke need to go broke and die off. I was shocked that that BioWare is actually facing outright bankruptcy. I just thought their studio would be shut down, but bankruptcy means that their studio will be liquidated. Do you agree that more of these studios are only going to go down this path that have gone woke and gone broke? Let me know your thoughts and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Men walking away, and cheers.